Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a Sunday sermon. Each week, we try to bring you messages of love and faith that hopefully are going to make your week a little brighter. This morning, we have a friend returning, St. Thomas Aquinas. If you listen to any of his other messages, I think you've been quite impressed with him. So, Thomas is here with us. So, let us begin. Hello, everyone. It is a pleasure to be back. When you're on my side, it can be very frustrating. We try to influence what people do. We try to work with the guides. We try to do many things. But sadly, people ignore us. And why do you think that is? Well, first of all, it's free will, so they're allowed to do what they want to do. But people often fear God, and that's sad. And sadly, I am part of the reason that they fear God. You see, when I lived, we were honestly trying to figure out the truth about Jesus. Jesus Jesus was this incredible figure. He had walked the earth, but we really didn't know what to believe about him. You see, many people wrote many different things about our Lord. Now, his life, now that I'm over here and I truly understand all the things about his life, he spoke very simple words of love, coexistence, get along, don't show anger, don't show hatred. But you see, we had no way of knowing. We would read the different documents. And I want you to think about what it was like in a time where there was only a single church. The Roman Catholic Church, of which obviously I was a very strong figure, that was the only way. We weren't always right. We were far from it. You see, the Pope had incredible powers. He could tell everyone what God's words were. In many instances, the popes were some of the largest sinners around. They wanted power, lust. They had many, many problems. They wanted power. You see, in the early days of the church, it was pretty much like a political organization. The church could influence what the Roman rulers were doing. They could influence anyone that was running the government, for instance. Now, Martin Luther saw through it, and the Reformation changed things. He created other Christian religions that would compete with what the Catholic Church was saying. But we tried the best we could to bring the words of Jesus to what we thought he said. We didn't think it could be possible that he could speak such a simple message, but he did. We changed many of his words. Now, that is not saying we weren't trying to do what is right. We were trying to interpret. We were given all of these ancient documents, words of God, supposedly. We looked at all of the different messages that were given to us. There were Gospels according to Mary, Gospels of John, Luke. Everyone had a gospel. Paul. I mean, there were so many ways and different interpretations of what our Lord spoke. We didn't know what was right. We didn't know what was wrong. There were Gnostics. There were so many different ways that our Lord's words were being interpreted. We came up with a few things that we thought we should add. How about fearing God? That was terrible. We should have never done that. You see, God is love. Jesus only spoke of love. He doesn't want you to fear death. Everyone knows death is going to be inevitable and you're going to face it. Many of the things that are in the Gospels have created problems for people to believe in God. The ancients thought of Adam and Eve. They thought of Noah. They thought of many different things, none of which were true. The ancients couldn't conceive of how humans could have been formed without having a man and a woman. So they created this story of Adam and Eve and everything that went with it. They created many things that were very difficult to believe. Moses parting the Red Sea. It's 100 miles across the Red Sea. I mean, yes, God has amazing powers, and I have no doubt that he could have. The question is, would have he? No. There's so many things in the Gospels that are difficult to believe. I wrote many things that made it more difficult to believe. You see, I truly felt that the Catholic Church was the way to heaven. I believed that there was a burning hell. I believed many of the things that I was told Jesus spoke of. I tried my best to figure out what the truth was. Well, the truth is very simple. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Pretty simple words. Love. I know that many of you out there feel that absolutely every word of the Gospels is true. Members of the Muslim faith feel that every word of the Quran is true. Hindus feel that the documents of their religion is true. Well, something's got to be wrong there because not everybody can be right. But what is right is that there is one God, no matter how you want to refer to him. He's a God of love. He's not a God of hatred. He's not a God of retribution or fear or any of those words. He's just simply a God of love. He wants you to do what is right. He wants you to live a good life. And he wants you to be happy. True happiness only comes when you believe in God. So that's why he wants you to be happy. He knows you cannot. He knows there's no such thing as a happy atheist. They think they're happy. But when they return and they face their guides who tell them all the errors of their ways, they realize that they're not as happy as they thought they were. Happy people advance in heaven. Atheists don't advance. It's that simple. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand the way things work. If you do good, you're rewarded. If you don't help others and show love, you're not rewarded. And the reward is an advancement in the realms of heaven. Now, you're not going to face a guy in a red suit. You're not going to be part of a barbecue in hell. But there is a place of nothingness that God preserves for the really bad people. Thank heavens there are not many really bad people, but the really bad ones sure leave their mark. The Hitlers, the Putins, these people all leave a terrible mark on the world. Their egos have got in the way of their life plans. And because of it, they're going to be very sad when they return. If you are a very evil person hurting others, then you probably should have a few worries. I'm sure Putin is not going to enjoy the time that he's facing death. You see, he's probably doing everything that he can to avoid it, but it's not going to work. Everybody dies. Everybody faces judgment. Everybody goes to heaven. It's where you wind up in heaven that really counts. You want to be in the upper levels. God is in the upper level, in the highest of the upper level, obviously. And there are souls that are in that seventh level with him. They have served God in many ways. They've been martyred in the name of God. They've been sworn at. They've been laughed at. They suffered all of the problems that an individual faces when they're telling the truth. Sometimes it's much easier to follow a lie. Pursuing great wealth, not believing in God, they're pursuing a lie. They're convincing themselves that this is really the best way, that this is how you should live your life, that there's no God. Many people are firmly convinced of that. It seems as though they can't look at a baby or at the sky, those gorgeous sunsets, and think that those are blessings of God. Do they think they made the sunset? No. People, humans in particular, are very, very, shall we say, bullheaded. They think that they're perfect. They think that what they do is the be all and the end all of a human life. Have you seen some of these yachts that these individuals have? They sit on them and they smile, saying how great they are. But when they sit before their guides, and those guides tell them how much they messed up by sitting on that yacht and not helping others, they're not going to be happy. They're creating a karma. Many people ask why there are so many people in abject poverty. Well, many of those people were sitting on yachts in their prior lives. They refused to help others. They refused to believe in God. And they refused to follow God's simple words. So when they're judged, they create this karma because they proved that they could not follow a life plan and that they could not help others. So in their next life, they're going to live a life of need. And in that life, they're going to understand what it is to require help from others. And in that lifetime, there'll be other idiots sitting on their yachts, and they'll be watching those people and laughing at them. And then in 100 years, those people will come back and be in the place of the poor. Pretty simple relationship. If you ask yourself why God allows things like that, now you know. It's because it's a karma that has been created by people that can't follow life plans. Just simply help others. There's many people that need help now. Many people are having a difficult time. Go volunteer at a charity. Go down to a soup kitchen. Watch those poor people that need help simply to eat. Figure out how you can help them. You see, governments could help them, but they're choosing not to do it. They would rather spend their money on their own little pet programs. They could be spending the money to help people, to educate them, to give them employment, to do many things that would lead those people to a successful life. But it doesn't happen. You see, many of your politicians want nothing more than to be in office, gain wealth, and gain power. They'll do anything to do it. They'll accept money from pharmaceuticals, oil companies. They'll accept money from anybody that will give it to them, and then they are indebted to those people. Very sad. Vote for people that believe in God. Don't let them mislead you. You can tell. There's right and wrong. There's evil and there's good. There's many, many ways that you can sort through the people you should be voting for. Life does not have to be this complicated. If everyone believed in God and followed his words, it would be very, very simple. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Very few people actually pay attention to Barry's words, and that's sad. He does everything he can to reach others, but it's very difficult for him. Jesus did everything he could to reach others, but he had many, many people helping him. Help spread the words that you're hearing. That is one of the greatest things you can do. That is a way of assuring true happiness. So thank you very much. I thank you, Barry and Connie, for allowing me to return. I hope that my words don't upset anyone, but, well, tough. If my words upset you, then you have a problem. So thank you so much for listening. If you ask me back again, if I haven't insulted too many people, then I will love to return. Have a great week. God is blessing all of you, and goodbye. Well, thank you, Thomas. It's a shame you're so bashful. Folks, help spread the word. It's very simple. Love God, you'll find happiness. So thank you for listening. We'll be back again next week. We'll have another message for you. Just simply follow God's words. It's about as simple as it can get. Goodbye.